He's taking me to my cousin's wedding. You can come if you want, but don't make it weird, she said about her best friend. I said cool. Asked her sister instead. She said yes immediately. What happened at the wedding when she saw us together? Hey viewers, this channel is demonetized. My ability to keep creating these stories is officially in your hands. I want to keep producing, but I need your direct support to stay in business. If you want these videos to stay on your feed, join the Patreon below. You're the only reason I can keep doing this. I was on the couch, controller in hand, half watching a game I'd already lost interest in when Maya walked through the door. She had that glow, the one she always wore after spending time with Derek. A little too bright, a little too rehearsed. She kicked off her heels, dropped her bag, and flopped down beside me like she was about to deliver good news. Okay, so, don't be mad, she started. I muted the TV. She smiled, the smile that always preceded something I'd have to swallow. The wedding next weekend? At the vineyard? Derek asked me as his +1, and I said yes. We've already planned the whole thing. It's not a big deal, it's just for fun. I let the words hang. Your cousin's wedding. Yeah. And you're going with Derek. As my date, yeah? But you're still invited. She said it like she was offering me a coupon. You can come. Just don't make it weird. Don't follow us around. Don't sit there looking like a sad puppy. He's the one I'm actually going with, but you're my boyfriend. You know that. I stared at the blank TV screen for a second. Am I, though? Your boyfriend? She laughed. Not a cruel laugh. Worse. The kind that said I was being adorable and a little exhausting. Oh my God, Leo. Yes. You're the steady one. You're safe. Derek's just exciting. He'll dance with me. He'll make the night fun. You just sit there talking about work and looking awkward. I love you, but you're not exactly a party. So yes, come, but just be cool. Okay. I looked at her. Really looked. There was no hesitation in her face. No flicker of awareness that she had just dismantled me. Cool, I said. Got it. She leaned over and kissed my cheek. You're the best. I mean it. Then she pulled out her phone and started texting Derek right there, a little smile still playing on her lips. I didn't say another word. I just turned the TV back on and let the sound fill the space where my response should have been. Something in me didn't snap. It just folded. Quietly. Completely. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Maya was asleep beside me, her phone still glowing with an unread notification, probably Derek. I didn't check. I didn't want to. I wasn't raging. I wasn't even sad exactly. I was somewhere worse. I was sorting through old moments, trying to find the exact point I'd become optional. And then, unbidden, a memory surfaced. Not of Maya. Of Sarah. 6 months earlier, at a family barbecue. Maya had made some joke about my new glasses in front of her cousins, said I looked like a sexy accountant who'd never actually have sex. Everyone laughed. I laughed too, because that's what I did. Later, when Maya was off refilling her drink, Sarah walked past me. She paused, tilted her head, and said quietly, almost under her breath, I think they suit you. She just likes to tear people down when she's insecure. Don't let it stick. She didn't linger. She didn't make it a moment. She just said it like a fact, offered me a small, knowing nod, and kept walking. I remember standing there, plate in hand, realizing that was the first genuine kindness anyone in Maya's family had ever shown me. Not romantic, not loaded, just true. That memory sat in my chest now like a small, steady flame. And for the first time in 2 years, I started thinking about what I actually deserved, not what I'd been trained to accept. The next morning, I woke up before Maya. I made coffee, drank it standing at the kitchen counter, and scrolled through my phone without really seeing anything. Her words from the night before were still lodged in my chest like a splinter I couldn't dig out. You're safe. Derek's exciting. Don't make it weird. I wasn't angry. I was done. There's a difference. I opened my contacts and stared at Sarah's name for a full minute. I'd never called her before. We'd exchanged numbers a year ago for a group birthday thing and never used them. But the memory from the barbecue was fresh now. Her quiet decency, the way she'd cut through Maya's noise with a single sentence. I stepped onto the balcony and called. She picked up on the third ring. Leo? Is everything okay? Hey, Sarah. Yeah. No, not really. But not in the way you're probably thinking. I kept my voice steady. I need to ask you something directly, and it's going to sound unusual. Just hear me out. Okay. Maya told me last night that Derek's her +1 for the wedding. Her actual date. She said I could still come, but only if I didn't make it weird. Her words. Silence on the line. Then a slow exhale. She actually said that to you? With Derek? Yeah. I heard something shift in her voice. Not shock exactly. More like tired recognition. God, she's unbelievable. I'm not going to beg or fight, I said. That's not why I'm calling. But I still want to go to that wedding and hold my head up. Not to prove anything, not to cause a scene. I just don't want to be the sad guy in the corner while my girlfriend plays date with someone else. I paused. Would you go with me? Not to hurt her. Honestly, I just appreciate your company. You're the only one in that family who's ever spoken to me like I had a spine. The silence stretched long enough that I thought I'd overstepped. Then she laughed, soft, surprised, genuine. You know what, yes. I was already dreading watching her parade around like she's queen of the vineyard. Let's go together. As actual friends. Her tone shifted, warmer now. I'd like your company too. No flirtation. No scheming. Just a quiet alliance between two people who understood exactly who Maya was. Thank you, Sarah. Don't thank me yet, she said. Wear the navy suit. It brings out your eyes. She hung up before I could respond. That week passed in a strange, suspended silence. I didn't post anything online. I didn't vent to friends. I didn't give Maya a single sign that anything had changed. She drifted through the apartment like nothing was wrong, texting Derek at the dinner table, humming while she picked out her wedding outfit, occasionally tossing me a casual, "You're still coming, right?" Like she was doing me a favor by remembering I existed. I didn't argue. I didn't confront. I just nodded and said, "Yeah, see you there." Inside, I was detaching. Quietly. Completely. I packed my navy suit the night before. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought about the version of me who'd spent 2 years holding his tongue, softening his edges, making himself small so she could feel big. I didn't hate that guy. I just didn't need him anymore. By the time Saturday morning arrived, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Light. The vineyard was the kind of beautiful people pay too much to photograph and forget to actually enjoy. Rows of green vines, string lights drooping between wooden posts, a soft golden haze settling over everything like a filter. Maya had arrived early. I knew because her Instagram story was already live. A selfie of her and Derek, her head tilted against his shoulder, the caption reading, "Wedding date with my favorite human, Yellowheart." She'd posted it knowing I'd see it. That was the point. 40 minutes later, Sarah and I pulled up in my car. She stepped out first, a soft burgundy dress catching the late afternoon light, and I followed in the navy suit she'd remembered. We weren't holding hands. We weren't performing. But we were clearly together, two people who'd chosen to arrive side by side. I saw Maya before she saw me. She was standing near the seating area, a glass of champagne in her hand, Derek's arm draped over her shoulder like a lazy scarf. Her laugh was a little too loud, her eyes scanning the crowd for validation. And then those eyes found me. Then Sarah. The change was instant. The smile froze, cracked, collapsed. She went rigid, champagne glass lowering, and for a moment she just stared, disbelief cycling into fury in real time. She didn't walk over. She stormed. Derek trailed behind her like a confused golden retriever, clearly unaware of the incoming storm. What the hell is this? Her voice was low and sharp, meant for me and me alone. Why are you with her? I met her eyes without heat. You told me I could come if I didn't make it weird. I didn't want to be alone and weird. So I asked Sarah. She said yes. Sarah stepped forward, calm as still water. He's my date, Maya. You made your choices. We made ours. Maya's expression twisted. This is so sick. You're doing this to humiliate me. Something clicked into place inside me. Not anger, clarity. No, I said. You humiliated me by telling me I was optional at my own girlfriend's family event. I just stopped being optional. I didn't wait for a response. I placed my hand lightly on Sarah's back, not possessive, just present, and we walked past them toward a table where cousins were already waving, smiles breaking across their faces. I heard Maya say something behind me, sharp and fractured. Derek mumbled something about, "Just take a breath, babe." But I didn't look back. For the first time in 2 years, I didn't need to. The reception unfolded under a tent strung with fairy lights, long tables, and the low hum of wine-loosened conversation. Sarah and I found seats near her cousins, People who'd always been cordial to me, but now looked at us with open curiosity. Not hostility, just quiet reassessment. Maya and Derek sat 2 tables away, angled so she could shoot glances at us without turning her head too obviously. Derek was already deep into his 2nd glass of something amber. His laugh was getting louder. His hand on Maya's back looked less like affection and more like stabilization. When the mics opened for casual toasts, I saw him stand up. He grabbed a microphone like he'd been waiting for this moment all night. Maya reached for his arm, whispered something, but he shook her off with a grin. All right. He slurred into the mic, swaying slightly. To Maya, the hottest, temporary decision I ever made. A ripple of confused laughter. A few glasses half-raised. And to her sister, Derek continued, gesturing vaguely towards Sarah, who I didn't even know existed. Your loss, babe. The laughter died. Someone coughed. Maya's face drained of color. But Derek wasn't finished. He fumbled his phone out of his pocket to make some point and set it on the table, screen up, before someone gently took the mic from his hand and ushered him back into his seat. That's when it happened. His phone buzzed. The screen lit up, bright and visible to everyone nearby. A message preview sat there like a live grenade. Miss you too. Can't wait till you're done playing with that girl. Love, Jenna. One of Maya's cousins saw it first. Her eyebrow arched. Then she nudged the person beside her. A screenshot was taken. I watched the thumb move. By the time dessert plates were being cleared, the whisper had circled the entire tent. Derek had someone else. Maya wasn't a girlfriend. She was a stopover. I didn't cheer. I didn't point. I just watched Maya sit rigid in her chair, scrolling furiously through Derek's phone while he stared blankly at his wine glass, too drunk to mount a defense. Sarah leaned toward me, voice low. You okay? I nodded toward the dance floor. I think we should dance now. We did. Not to prove anything. Just because the music was good and the night was warm and I had nothing to hide. I got home after midnight. The apartment was empty. Maya was still at the vineyard, probably dealing with Derek or her family or the wreckage of both. I didn't care which. I hung my navy suit in the closet. I poured a glass of water. I stood at the kitchen counter and let the silence settle around me. No messages from her. No missed calls. Good. But in the quiet, a memory surfaced, the kind I hadn't let myself touch in a long time. 2 years ago, I'd saved for weeks to buy Maya a necklace. Nothing extravagant, but real silver, with a small pendant shaped like a star. She'd worn it for exactly 1 week, then left it somewhere. A bar, a friend's couch, she couldn't remember. I'd spent an entire afternoon tearing the apartment apart, checking under cushions, calling places, while she'd stood in the doorway and said, "It was cheap anyway, Leo. Let it go." I remember the way that sentence landed. Not like a slap. Like a door closing so softly you almost didn't hear it. That was the night I started making myself smaller. Now, standing in the same apartment 2 years later, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel vindication. I just felt a deep, clean silence where her voice used to live. I finished my water. I went to bed. For the first time in longer than I could remember, I didn't check my phone before sleeping. There was nothing I needed to see. The call came a week later. I was at my kitchen table, halfway through a bowl of cereal and a work email, when my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Leo, please don't hang up." Maya's voice was teary but controlled. The kind of controlled that meant she'd rehearsed this. I set down my spoon. "What do you want?" "I'm sorry, okay? The wedding was a mess. Derek he's an asshole. You were right about him." She let out a shaky breath. "I was just confused. I got caught up in something that wasn't real. But you and me, that was real. I still love you. Can we just go back to how it was?" I stared at the wall. No anger rose. No hope either. Just a flat, distant recognition of a voice I used to rearrange my life around. "You told me I was your safe, boring option," I said. "You brought another man as your date to a family wedding and told me not to make it weird. What exactly is there to go back to? That wasn't the real me. I was going through something. I didn't mean it." Her voice cracked. "Please, Leo, don't you still care?" I let the question hang. A month ago, it would have gutted me. Now it just felt like old paperwork. "I care about the truth," I said. "The truth is you made me an afterthought. And I don't live in that space anymore. I'm not angry at you, Maya. I'm just not interested." "Don't say that. It's already said." I can change. I'll stop talking to Derek. I don't want you to change. I want you to accept that I already have. Silence. Then a sound I used to dread. The small, wet catch of her breathing when she was about to cry harder. But it didn't move me. I waited, calm as still water. Are you with my sister now? She asked finally, voice hardening at the edges. Is that what this is? This isn't about Sarah. This is about you telling me I was optional and me deciding I'm not. That's a yes. That's a goodbye. I hung up. She texted 11 times over the next hour. I didn't read any of them. I finished my cereal, replied to the work email, and went for a run. By the time I got back, the notifications were still there, but they already felt like someone else's problem. It took 3 days for her friends to start circling. First came a text from someone named Qley, who I'd met maybe twice. Hey Leo, Maya's really not okay. Can you just talk to her? You're being kind of cruel. Then an aunt, Maya's mom's sister, left a voicemail I deleted halfway through. Family is family, and you running off with her sister is not the way to handle. And finally a long message from a mutual acquaintance who'd clearly been fed a sanitized version of events. I know things ended badly, but she still loves you and you owe her at least a conversation. I replied to exactly one. The aunt. Your niece told me I was her safe, boring option while another man was her actual date to a family event. I didn't run off with anyone. I walked away from someone who told me to my face that I wasn't enough. Please don't contact me again. Then I blocked her. And Qley. And the mutual acquaintance. 2 days later, Maya showed up at my workplace. I walked out at 5 to find her leaning against my car in the parking lot. Arms crossed. Jaw tight. The tearful vulnerability from the phone call was gone. In its place was something sharper. You think you're so above me now? She said as I approached. You're just running to my sister because you can't handle a real woman. I stopped a few feet away. Keys in hand. Expression flat. You're still the same boring guy who cried over his dead mom. She continued, voice rising. You think Sarah's going to want you? You think anyone's going to want you? I was the best thing that ever happened to you. I let the silence stretch until it became uncomfortable for her. Are you done? Admit you're still in love with me, she demanded. Just admit it. I looked at her. This woman who'd told me I was safe, boring, an optional extra at my own relationship. This woman who'd let another man drape his arm over her while I watched. This woman who was now angry not because she'd lost me, but because she'd lost control of me. I feel nothing, I said. That's the truth. You can call it cruelty if you want. To me, it's just reality. Her face flickered, something between rage and disbelief. Now I'm going to walk back inside. I continued. Don't come here again. I didn't wait for a response. I turned, walked toward the building, and heard her voice crack behind me. Not with sadness this time, but with the kind of fury that comes from realizing you've lost every ounce of leverage you thought you had. You're nothing without me, she shouted. I didn't break stride. I didn't look back. I pulled open the door and let it swing shut behind me, the sound cutting off whatever she said next. I walked to my desk, sat down, and finished a report I'd been working on. When I finally glanced out the window an hour later, the parking lot was empty. She was gone, and so was any remaining trace of the hold she'd once had on me. The dinner invitation came from Sarah's mother, of all people. She'd called Sarah a week earlier and said, I want everyone at the table. No drama. Just family. Sarah put her hand over the phone and whispered, She means you too. I nodded. By then, I wasn't an outsider anymore. I was just there. Settled. Real. That Saturday, we drove to her parents' house together. The spring air was warm, the windows down, an old playlist humming through the speakers. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't bracing. I was just present, a quiet, steady thing that had become normal. The house smelled like roast chicken and fresh bread. Sarah's father shook my hand with genuine warmth. Her cousins filtered in, the same ones who'd watched the wedding disaster unfold months earlier, now greeting me like someone who belonged. I helped set the table. Someone handed me a glass of wine. It felt easy. Then the front door opened, and Maya walked in. She wasn't invited. I knew at the moment I saw her mother's face tighten at the kitchen doorway. But Maya had always been good at showing up where she wasn't wanted and calling it confidence. She looked different. Harder. Thinner in the face. Her eyes swept the room and landed on me like a locked target. I held her gaze for a moment. then turned back to the conversation I was having with one of the uncles about travel plans. I didn't flinch. I didn't feel the old pull. I felt nothing at all. Dinner passed with a thin veneer of politeness. Maya sat across and 2 seats down, picking at her food, contributing clipped sentences whenever someone addressed her directly. Sarah stayed close beside me, her hand occasionally brushing my arm. Not possessive, just present. After dessert, I stepped out to the back garden to catch some air. The stars were out, faint in the dusk. I heard the glass door slide open behind me and knew without turning who it was. "You were supposed to wait for me." Her voice was lower than before, stripped of the sharp edge she'd used in the parking lot. Now it was something else, something closer to desperation wrapped in accusation. I turned. She stood a few feet away, arms wrapped around herself like she was cold. But it wasn't cold. "You were supposed to love me enough to fight," she continued. "And now you're with my sister? You don't just get to do that. I want you to end it. Come back to me. I'll be different. Please." The word please cracked on the way out. She was looking at me the way you look at a door you slammed and now can't pry open. I didn't move. I didn't soften. I just looked at her like she was a chapter I'd finished long ago and had no interest in rereading. "You told me I was the safe option and another man was your actual date," I said. "So I stopped being an option." Her face flickered. "I don't think about you anymore. I'm happy now." I let the words settle. "Go inside or don't. It doesn't matter to me." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The power she'd held over me for 2 years had vanished so completely that she couldn't even find a handle to grab. I stepped around her and walked back toward the house. The glass door slid open, and Sarah was standing there, just inside, a small smile on her face. Not triumphant, just knowing. She held out her hand. I took it. We walked inside together, back to the warmth and the voices and the laughter. The door slid shut behind us. Maya stayed in the garden a long time. When she finally came back inside, her eyes were red, and she made an excuse about a headache and left before anyone could stop her. I didn't watch her go. Later that night, Sarah and I sat on the back steps of the house, sharing a glass of wine and watching the last embers of the sunset fade. One of her cousins came out and snapped a photo of us without us noticing. Me mid-laugh. Sarah turned toward me with an expression so easy and genuine it couldn't have been posed. When she showed us the picture, I stared at it for a moment. I looked happy, not performing, not proving anything, just happy. "You okay?" Sarah asked, bumping her shoulder against mine. I squeezed her hand. "I don't have to be okay. I just am. That's the best part." She smiled. We stayed there a little longer, the night folding around us, quiet and full. The photo got posted later, and I didn't check who saw it. It wasn't for them. It was real, and she wasn't in it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. If you enjoy these stories and would like to help support the channel, my Patreon is linked in the description. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments.